Hello, my fellow human, and welcome back to another daily dice where we ask a dice for a message and find out what that is. Keeping in mind that these are general readings, so please take what resonates, leave what does not, knowing that as you interact with the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing down below, it does allow me an opportunity to directly connect with your energy. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box down below. You will find all the links necessary. You can also email me for a personal reading where I will get you out some further information. And you can also follow me on over to my podcast at Scatter Love Radio, where it's just a fun, chill hangout session with yours truly. And I hope to see you there. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it and find out what is today's daily dice source. What messages do you have for my fellow humans? What would you like them to know? What is today's daily dice source? What is the message today? What is today's daily dice for my fellow humans? What would you like us to know, source? So we've got 5th house, we've got the south node, and we've got Virgo energy. Okay. Okay, so this is interesting because the last one I did was in regards to love, and we got basically saying your career is changing. Okay, when we have the 5th house coming in, we're talking about potential dating, right? Like dating, having fun with somebody, but we have south node energy here. So we had career north node come out in the last reading. I will try to put these in order, so that should have been yesterday's reading, okay? And now we have dating and the south node, and this actually goes in line with what I was just talking about in the other reading, is that it's like this is part of your south node, is focusing on love. Okay, so like source is just trying to reiterate here that focusing on love is something that is in your south node energy. And it's so weird because we got Virgo energy. It was literally 10th house Virgo north node, and now we have 5th house Virgo and south node, and we have the 5 is half of 10, and so that's already synchronistic in itself. And then you have the south node, which is opposites, but the same energy overall. This wanting to be. So we're in our south node energy. It's like being in the shadow aspect, right? It's like being in our shadow and our negativity and the things that we're fearful of. And so it feels like you do have a deep fear of not ever finding a partner to date that you're going to get along with, right? And we'll get more information on this as we go for sure. But here we have this idea of romance and dating coming through, right? And experiencing drama in that area as well. And it feels like there's a lot of cynical energy coming in here. It feels like there's a little bit of critical, like being super critical, being obsessive, being a perfectionist. Like it has to be XYZ. So if you're dealing with a soulmate, a twin flame, or just your significant other or your person, whatever label it is that you hold for them, it doesn't matter. There's this sense of obsessing over it and wanting to rationalize it through your day-to-day. Like, how can I bring this person closer to me? How can I bring myself closer to this person? Like, you haven't manifested them yet, but you're like trying to control and manipulate, right? Anytime we try to control our manifestations, we're trying to manipulate source. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but source knows our in and out and our every move and what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. And that's something that source is aware of. So source knows when we're trying to manipulate source's plan for us, right? So we're not trusting the process when we're trying to manipulate things. So what source is saying here is that you need to stop being so obsessive about your love interest, whoever that is. Okay, so some of you could be watching love readings every day. You could be trying to figure out, like going and watching people, like, how do you manifest your soulmate? What do I need to know so I can manifest them fast? How do I manifest them tomorrow? Some of you could be even doing like witchcraft to manifest your love tomorrow type thing. And it's like, one thing I will say about witchcraft is that I never ever encourage love spells, because you just don't know how that could backfire potentially on you, okay? It's not that they do or they don't work. I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole topic for probably my podcast, which I'll bring up one day. This is just something that I do not encourage you to get into love spells, because you just never know, right? We're messing with somebody's free will versus asking source for something for us. And so it's like, you don't really want to put that on somebody. It's not to say anything about it. It's just something to mention here, right? So that's something that I feel needs to be said to somebody. out there. It's not like you did anything wrong. It's just saying that, you know, Source has a plan for you, and when you're going out of your way to try to manipulate or control what Source is doing for you, you end up getting in this very obsessive energy, which is part of your fear coming out, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get what I asked for. Source isn't going to bring it to me. I don't want to face this fear. Something's wrong with me. You know, but this is also something that you followed up until now, right? You've been in this South Node energy. It's very familiar for you to obsess over love. This is something that has been happening in the past. So it's something that it's being brought up so that you can heal this right now. And I feel like dealing with your career, if you're the one that's been dealing with your career, and it's come up every time you've gone on to the reading, like, oh, okay, wow, you know, that comes up every time I'm doing these. I'm going to have to find my career before I find my love. Remember that that's only teaching you to humble yourself on the journey so that when your soulmate comes in, you're actually open-hearted enough to bring them in. You know, we think that we're ready sometimes, and if anything that life has told you, it's like when you think you're ready, not when you know. You could be saying, I know I'm ready, I know I'm ready, I know I'm ready. But then when you're given your gift and you're really not, it's just a thought, right? I think I'm ready, and you're really still in your emotional ego, you'll actually repel your gift. You'll repel that blessing. And so that's what Source is mentioning here, is that there's this obsessive energy that's coming in regards to love. And we just need to take a step back and reevaluate where am I on this journey, right? Where am I in my life right now? And why am I so obsessive right now? And you could excuse it by saying, well, I'm on the twin flame journey. That's just how it is. You know what? That says that you don't want to heal. That's exactly what that says. I know I've been there. That's my own experience from it. That says I don't want to heal from this. I'd rather just obsess because it's what I've done for this entire time, and I'd rather just obsess over them because that's just the way this journey is. That's what everybody says I'm supposed to do. Well, you know, my mom had a famous saying. I can hear her so clearly right now. I hear you, Mom. She used to tell me, if all your friends walked off a bridge, would you too? If they all walked off a cliff, would you too? I mean, it changed from bridge to cliff to waterfall. It changed all the time, but it was literally saying, like, would you basically walk to your own death because everybody expected you to or said you needed to? And that's exactly what this is for the love journey. Just because everybody says it has to be this way, is it really? Oh no, I cannot. I don't think you can see that. The card flipped over. It's right here. I'll show you in just a second. It's just like saying, like, are you really willing to lose yourself because someone else tells you that's what it's supposed to be? You know, and that's why it's so important to ask ourselves these questions, because we're not getting necessary guidance from somebody else. We're allowing our soul and our heart to give us guidance, to quiet the mind, to quiet the ego, and saying, like, if the ego is saying, well, that's just the way it is, that's the way it's supposed to be, it's okay to ask your ego, well, why do you think that? And then when the ego comes back and it says whatever it's going to say, ask even more. Well, why is that? Like, can you explain that to me? Let your ego explain its reasoning to you, and keep asking and keep digging deeper until finally you're going to realize that the ego has nothing left to say. It's just going to keep saying, well, because. Well, because. And I don't know about you, but when that came out as a child, when people said, well, just because, that was never a valid answer for me. That was like, oh no. Oh no, that just means that you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know what to say, right? Well, it's the same thing with the ego. Sometimes the ego just gets to a point where it's just saying, well, just because. That's not a valid excuse. That's not a valid reason. It has no merit. Okay, so what flipped over here was Chiron. Look, hurt and heal. And I'm so glad. I'm going to take a second. Look at this. Look at this. We have North Node on the bottom. Let's just take a look at this. Chiron, hurt and heal, and the North Node. You're destined to have a love, but right now you're healing the South Node. I'm going to leave this out. Let's take a look at Chiron. I left the book out for this purpose because Chiron comes out, and I never get a chance to really fully explain Chiron because it's like our karmic path, right? It's like what we followed. It's the things that we've gone through. There it is. Thank you. But let me read this so that you can get a better understanding on what Chiron is. It says, Chiron holds your deepest spiritual injury. It illuminates where you feel innately challenged, spiritually injured, and hopeless. love, right? We're talking about love here. This is your energetic Achilles heel. When it's triggered, your survival instincts tells you to run. However, your wounding isn't a haphazard accident caused by an external happening. It's of you, braided into your bones. To deny it is to deny yourself. An abandoned Chiron creates a cycle of repetition around your area of wounding. You break the cycle not through resistance, but through acceptance. And through this journey to wholeness, you gain your deepest wisdom. While this wound never leaves you, you gain freedom from its grip through self-compassion and empathy for others. In Chiron's realm, you become a teacher of wisdom. You become the wounded healer. So it says, what is your great spiritual injury? Can you identify a common thread between the situations that have caused you the most anguish? Do you have an unnameable dooming trait within you consider your fatal flaw? With self-compassion, explore your shame, and once you do, practice owning it and even loving it. When shame releases its hold, you're left gloriously whole, perfectly imperfect, radiant, and wise. You soar above your pain and develop self-acceptance and empathy for others. What's more, wearing your bumps and bruises with pride invites others to do the same. When you're at peace with yourself, your gaze softens. How healing it is for another to be seen in their entirety. You become a healing force, and your wound is your superpower. Okay, that should tell you. So love is meant to be your superpower. Wow, this reading just went so long just based on these. Let's see what this is, right? So you're healing a deep wound. Look, opposition, imbalance, a point of tension, and a power struggle. Exactly. You're in opposition right now. You're trying to leave your south node to come into your north node, but it's going through Chiron. It's an uncomfortable time. Let's get some yin-yang cards on it just because of the nature of this reading. This was so intense. Like, Source, what else would you like to say here? Yeah, okay. What else would you like to say on this reading, Source? Okay, thank you. What else would you like to say? Okay, they want me to go through one more time. What else would you like me to say? Thank you, Source. What else would you like to say? Yeah, control tactics came in. Yep. They're trying to bring you gifts and abundance here. Avoidance, stalemate. Oh my jeebus. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, child. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. On the bottom of the deck, you're in the process of a rebirth. We have winter, right, with rebirth. And then we also have autumn and harvest. This is the first card to flip over. So there's a process that's happening here. Okay, that's what this is saying. There's definitely a process you're going through. But let's talk about these cards that flipped over. We had control tactics coming out, right? When you're trying to control or manipulate source, you just push yourself further away from your celebration, your gifts, and your abundance. And that was the second card to flip out, right? Confirming what I was saying, what I was feeling, right? Avoiding it. Well, I don't want to because that's just the way it's supposed to be. That's avoidance. That's coming into a stalemate, right? Like, well, everybody says that this is how I'm supposed to be. That's avoidance. I don't want to heal this because everybody says I'm meant to be this way. You're not meant to be like everybody else, right? Don't walk off the cliff just because that's what everybody else does. Right now you're dealing with guilt and self-sabotage. Okay? That's why love is not coming to you, because there's something that you're trying to heal here. You're in a place of opposition, an imbalance. This is a struggle, right? This is a struggle for you. It's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to have what I'm meant to have, but how do I get there? You have to surrender to the journey and accept that you're in a place where maybe you haven't healed just yet, right? So we have Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, allowing your emotions to surface here. Okay, this could be that you are a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. You have Moon or Venus in Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio would be very synchronistic to you. We're about ready to come into your truth. It's time for you to express your truth, your soul's truth, not your emotional ego's truth, but your soul's truth, because you're trying to activate your higher self here. I absolutely love these messages. They're so synchronistic to what was being said in the reading here. So you have to allow yourself to go through this transformation and to not be so stubborn about how it's supposed to be. Because honestly, what one person's story is and what you want it to be, they're going to be completely different. And you're never going to have life turn out the way that you want it to. It's going to turn out exactly as it turns out. And that's outside of our control. That's part of our activation to our higher self here, to come into our North Node. This is uncomfortable energy coming into our North Node. South Node is something that we're very comfortable with. It's something that we've been doing for our entire lives. In fact, it could be multiple lifetimes that we've been doing this, okay? So this is what I have for you. If you feel like this is your reading, leave a little moon down below and say, I accept my change to come into my North Node. So you let Source know that you're ready to surrender to this process, and knowing that we can't control everything, and that's not meant for us to control everything, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Leave me a thumbs up down below. I'm going to get on out of here, but I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this message. And until next time, stay human. Bye.